This is the 8th turn of the 2020 aerobic compost heap, and I gathered a little handful of some of the material that's on top of the pile right now. See, there's lots and lots of carbon left in there. I could keep this pile going for at least another month if I wanted. But what I'm going to do is, after another 2 flips, maybe I'll do another one. Actually, we're at 8, so we want to go to 10. That's 3 more flips. I might go to 11. I might go back to every 2 days. This every 3-day experiment, I think, was something to think about. I don't believe it's damaged anything, and what it's done is it's reduced the amount of times I have to turn it. So but I do want to get this distributed in the beds here in this area and start growing, and I do believe, and because of what happened the last 2 years I've done this, the carbon is sufficiently softened for the soil life to handle the rest of the decomposition. So I'll distribute it out and start planting. But we got 3 more turns at least. Here we go again. Smells like it's working. And a compost pile that's working very well has a kind of, not a nice smell, kind of a, I don't know, interesting smell, or like a fermenting process almost, like you go into a barn with a silo and they're making silage, a little like that. So this time I have a wheelbarrow full of trimmings and prunings from the front flower gardens and whatnot. I'm not involved in those. And I've got a couple buckets of goldenrod, and I'm not eliminating the goldenrod off the property, but I slowed it way down. Now it's allowing my other crops in this area. There grew some artichokes. Now they're going to shoot up over the top and mute their growth. And I got a big bucket of the rest of my comfrey. And that comfrey is planted just for this purpose, to be able to compost it. And secondarily, then I use it as mulch. Alright, she's hot. I see white bacteria. That's good. That's the reason why I've been lengthening it out. I want to get some of that white bacteria growth in here. If I let it go too much longer, the pile will probably go anaerobic. So we've got to be careful with that. That's the experiment. And I don't think I've gone anaerobic at all. The proof is in all this steam that's coming out. How nice and brown the material is. But I'm not doing anything scientifically here. We're just kind of doing it and seeing what happens. Much like our ancestors did for centuries and centuries and centuries. Of course, they had more time to think about what they were doing. We don't have any time to think in this society. Probably by design. Of course, you know, we're all willing participants, so. We wanted to end this regime of, let's just call it fascism for lack of a better way to describe it, because I know what fascism is. You know, the basic definition, the general definition of fascism is those who utilize the force of law, the force of government, force of rules to protect their business model and enhance their profits. And that's what we have today. I guess a softer way I could describe it is as being monopoly capitalism. The fascists, they abhor free market. because that's competition. They don't want competition. That's a fact, Jack. And of course we can get into all the suffering that happens because they put their profits over everything else. It's like I've talked about it before. It's like those injections. You can't find information on who is suffering from them. It's an industry secret. So they're making money without anybody really being aware of how many people are suffering from their products. Now we got a president that's claiming he's loosening up all the regulations for small business, but small business isn't even going to be here to take advantage of anything. So he's doing it for the big businesses. Can't fool me. That's why I think learning how to grow your own food is so important right now. Because they're going to use food as a tool to force you into compliance, into the fascist system. That's just my idea. I'm not going to offer any evidence or proof to support that. It's just an idea that we should be thinking about, contemplating. So, I can tell the pile's slowing down a little bit. At least this part of it. That's good. Got to get the timing right. But last year I distributed it all when it was still warm. No ill effects. We grew a terrific crop here out of that. Even after a woodchuck came in and ate all the carrots right down to nothing, we still got carrots. The carrots recovered and had a decent crop. It wasn't a bumper crop or a huge crop or anything to really get excited about. But after being totally wiped out, it was a good crop, considering that. Nice comfrey. I got 34 plants I counted back there. And I got, I don't know, not as many, but I got other comfrey plants just scattered all over the place. I got a person in India that I correspond with once in a while, and he can't even talk about fascism. In India, they don't allow it. If he puts anything on social media, it gets erased. Don't they have like the caste system there or something? So the people that are in control right now, they don't want any discussion about them being in control. They're ultra fascists in that regard. that green material I put in there. There's just some on the edges that are still green. A lot of that brown material that I showed you in the beginning, that was actually stems. And last year you could see I got a homemade design on a sifter, so I don't have to carry the weight as I sift. Matter of fact, that's that V angle right there. I don't know if you could see it in the camera or not. And when I grow things in pots, I've been sifting it first and getting this bigger material out of it. Then I've been using the bigger material in other pots where I'm growing things like potatoes as a filler to build up the amount of soil in the pot. If you leave it sit for a couple of weeks, it starts to reduce already. The worms are in it like crazy. Yeah. How many times do I have to walk under that apricot tree and bang my head on the branches? Or I bend my head before I get there. Here's a big piece of soil. Okay. So, Beavers is hollering for attention again. That chirping is generally a female house wren. And that makes sense because it's time for the males to sit on the nest now. I got a young male that's found one of my nest boxes inside of a main crop garden. It's been about 5 years or something, maybe 6 years since I had one nesting inside of a main crop garden. The last time I actually caught the brood coming out of their necks. They raised 5 young ones. And I caught it on video. You can see them all come out one at a time. I should link to that video on the description box. chirping right there. That's a female house wren. I also notice in the news a lot of positive articles coming out on Bill Gates. I wonder how much that's costing him. Those are the monopoly capitalists, all ready to bow down for their money. One thing that not a lot of people know about Bill Gates is he's invested in this business called microchips biotech. Look that up, would you? And of course he's in Monsanto and Walmart, and it's not even him anymore, it's his trust. Don't trust the trust. Somebody asked me, well, do you think Bill Gates thinks he's doing the right thing? Well, I don't know. Here's our antlers, all disguised in that white bacteria that I'm talking about right there. See that? Still got some hair left. Yeah, I think it's safe to show that now. I don't see much meat left in there. I don't see any meat left in there. It's got to be finished in another couple of days. Sunday, I guess, is the last day of May. That's when I want to be in distribution mode, give or take a day. I don't know what this root is from. Look at that. One of those plants I pulled out by the roots. It's actually cut there. Oh, she made parsnips the other day. I'll bet you that was the end of a parsnip she didn't want to have in it. That makes sense because it's cut. Parsnips is a really good crop to grow in a northern climate. Probably in good and salt too, but the reason why the northern climate is special is because if you let it over winter and it freezes in the winter, let it over winter in the soil, it freezes, that next spring the roots have sweetened up, and they're good to eat all the way until they start to send up their seed shoot. And when they start to make seed, then they're really not palatable anymore. They get hard as a rock. I suppose you can ferment them and do a bunch of extra work to them to get them to be able to eat them. But why would you want to do that if you don't have to? Plenty of other things to eat once they harden up. It's the same thing with skirret. It's the same family. Once they start to send out their seed shoots, you can't eat those skirret roots either until fall. In the fall, when everything dies back, then they're palatable again. make a little noise. Yes, I'm alive. Guess I can turn this thing over here a little bit. Always making bad judgments. Well, not always. Always is not a very good word. We use it too easily. There are too many variables. Here's some black walnuts. One is cold, wasn't in the pile. Let's show this one up close. You see it's got all that black material there. Now I'm going to have stained fingers. I think that's the biggest risk on this pile right here is those black walnuts. I've already planted tomatoes next to black walnut trees to find out how they would live, and they didn't live very well. So we'll find out. Maybe they weren't in here long enough. Maybe this bacteria can't digest it. I doubt that, but possible. All those greens I put in there, there's just a few of them left on the outside of the pile. They are gone, by and large. That's just so amazing. We eat lots of eggs, so there's lots of eggshells. That's got to be a nice calcium boost. Last of the comfrey. Last of the goldenrods. She couldn't take it no more, and she had to go to the store and get some avocados. We didn't have avocados for at least 2 months. More lilies. I had put some lilies in there before. There's a bunch of soil. We're going to get that soil in there. And Any seeds that are in that soil will be digested. Add a little bulk. Alright, everything is in there that I had harvested this morning just for the pile. Now we're on the stretch run. So Albano, I want you to tell me about Portugal and how they're handling the virus. Just thinking about that. I don't think I've heard anything about it. Geez, there's a whole bunch of black walnuts right here. I suppose they're round, they come off the pile easy. Okay. I'll just gather up some of this stuff on the edges. That's it. So stay tuned for the next episode of As the Compost Turns.